Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. We're going to take a look at the quick takes for the week of April 14th, 2025. This week we're going to be working with the energy of the 16-7. So big energy this week, but it can be really transformative and really powerful in a lot of ways, especially in our own personal experiences. But we're sort of at the core of that. So the change and transformation that we could see this week within our own experience or within ourselves has to come from ourselves, right? From us showing up, doing the work, going deeper, etc. The 16-7 promises some kind of change within the physical experience, right? So there could be some kind of intense aha moment that occurs this week that really opens you up to a different way of doing something or a different way of seeing something or approaching something. How you participate could change drastically this week in certain areas, wherever that change needs to occur. This is usually some kind of abrupt change. It can kind of sideswipe us where we thought everything was going fine. We were sort of in our own little bubble. And then this energy comes in and sort of shakes us awake really quickly and again, abruptly. In order for us to see more clearly, in order for us to see a better way within our own experience. And then it's up to us to take action from that clarity. This is a week where I would say, take your time. You might have situations that present this week that kind of feel really, impulsive, that you want to take action immediately. You want to sort of disrupt everything. You want to sort of, uproot everything and start over, or you might even have a sense of escapism come in this week where the grass looks definitely greener on the other side. So you want to uproot everything and jump fence. But I would say definitely take your time. This is a week where going deeper, going beyond the superficial layers are going to serve you well. So this week we're being asked to become the investigator, to not take things at face value. Now, I'm not talking about being like overly cautious and just overly skeptical or cynical and building walls, right? We're not trying to do that. But this is the week to, ask the questions, to have the conversations. Not a great week for debate. So, don't waste your energy there. What's the point of debate, right? What is the point? Like, what do you or the other person have to gain in that situation? Now, there's certain situations, maybe it calls for debate. Great. Go for it. If it feels good and there's something to be gotten from that experience, great, go for it. But in most situations, everybody involved has the most to gain from the conversation, from going deeper, from asking the questions in order to gain a deeper understanding of the situation. Because it's from that deeper understanding that we can make the most informed decisions. And this week with the 16-7, there will likely be plenty of opportunities to make decisions. And it's in making those decisions that the more that we know about the situation, the deeper that we go, the better the informed decision will be, right? And we will be less likely to regret those choices, to regret those decisions, because we've done our due diligence, we've asked the questions, we've gained the better understanding to the best of our ability, right? So we can feel confident or some degree of confidence in making that decision and then moving in that direction. And that's really ultimately kind of at the core of what this energy is pushing us to do, right? Be better informed. And it's not just informed with knowledge and logic and facts. It's also about being better informed about ourselves, right? To have a deeper understanding of what it is that we truly want. What direction do we want to be moving in? What feels right for us in this moment? And so this isn't just an opportunity to gain a greater understanding about the truth that's out there. It's also a great week to get clarity on the truth that's within. So that requires us to take our time to reflect, to maybe journal or contemplate, or feel into the situation. So an example would be, like maybe we don't want to get married, but society and our family is pushing us in that direction. That's just what you're supposed to do. So if we're just constantly listening to the external noise, we're not really diving deeper into how we feel about the situation, like what's true for us. We can couple, we can read into or couple the information that's being presented from the external and then sift through it and see how we feel about it and couple that with how we feel about, right? Like what we want and make our decisions from that point of view, right? From that space. There's definitely this sort of merging with this energy because we're talking about 7 energy. There's this merging of the intuition, the intuitive side of ourselves, and the knowledge, the facts, the information that's being presented. And when we can learn to, in most situations, couple those energies, then we are making the most informed decision for ourselves in that moment. And when we can do that, right, and not bypass how we feel about the situation, what feels right for us, what feels good for us in this moment, and that can always evolve and change. And that's why that going deeper within self and our own, again, intuition and our own feelings, our own inner guidance, when we continue to do that, then we continue to evolve with ourselves, if that makes sense, right? We continue to have a greater understanding of who we are, how we want to express ourselves, the direction we want to continue to move in, and our decisions will reflect that. When we're only focused on, again, the sort of superficial layer of the external, then that's the experience we're going to continue to receive, is that superficiality that's not really going anywhere, and we feel stuck, and we feel frustrated, and we feel listless. And so this energy really is pushing us to go deep, to take a deep dive, not just internally, although that's a really big piece of this, but in our interactions, in those day-to-day connections. Again, ask the questions, not because it's like the right thing to do, but because that's where you're going to gain the greatest clarity. That's where you're going to break through that superficial layer. It's the same thing with a job interview. If you're on a job interview, ask the questions. First of all, think about what you want to know about this position, what you want to know about the environment and the culture, or whatever it may be that you're interested in, and ask the questions. This is a week where making assumptions will really frustrate us. It will really kind of boomerang back and remind us of why making assumptions, kind of like going back to the old saying, makes an ass out of you and me, right? Just ask the questions, have the conversation. It's through that deeper conversation, even if it's a conversation with yourself, like ask yourself the questions. And then maybe journal about it, or again, go deeper. And you might not get all the answers in one fell swoop, but working with the 16-7 energy will likely bring those answers. This is a cycle where we can get the answers to the bigger questions. We have to be open to it though, and we have to ask the questions. We have to go deeper. We have to investigate. So this is a great week to do that. In your relationships, again, in your interactions, in the decisions that you're making, because again, this is a powerful week for making decisions. And what I would say about that is if there are decisions to be made, again, marry or merge the external with the internal, and then make the decision that feels best for you in this moment, that feels right for you in this moment. Make the decision that is moving you in the direction that you actually want to be moving in. And then trust yourself. Trust comes up really strongly when we're working with a 7 cycle, helping us to learn to trust ourselves, to not constantly second guess or beat ourselves up if things look like they're taking a different direction. We have to learn to trust ourselves in those moments where we are the captain of our ship. Our decisions will determine our experience, period, our personal experience. And so we want to make sure that we're making decisions that are serving that journey, right? And so a big piece of that is trusting ourselves. Make the decision and then move forward. Don't constantly second guess. Don't keep looking back. Don't beat yourself up, especially if things start to take a detour. Just trust yourself. And if you have a difficult time trusting yourself to make the decision, trust yourself in knowing that you will be able to manage and handle whatever the outcome of that decision. And you can prove that to yourself by looking back over the course of your life. Because everything you've experienced to some degree, right? Life also plays a role in this, but to some degree has been from the place of your decisions. And those consequences, whether they were good or not so comfortable, you've been able to handle and clean it up and move in a different direction or build on that decision, whatever that was. You've always been at the helm of the ship, whether you've recognized it or not. You just have to look back over your life to see that very clearly. So what makes you think that you're not going to be able to handle whatever the consequences of your current decisions? You absolutely will. Will it be sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it'll be challenging. Maybe it'll be difficult. Maybe it will produce something that doesn't feel so good and that you don't want. But guess what? Then you make different decisions. You move in a different direction. It's not the end of the world. You'll figure it out just as you always have. And that's what the 16-7 continues to remind us of. We're not meant to stay stagnant. We're meant to continue to evolve and grow and level up. And it's through our decisions that allow us to do that. But if we're constantly stuck in the fear of making the wrong quote unquote decision, or fear of it not working out, or fear of not knowing how it's going to work out, those fears really get in the way a lot of times. Don't let the monkey mind sort of deteriorate your options. Don't let the monkey mind get in the way of you making decisions and trusting yourself and moving in the direction that your soul is calling you to move in. And I mean, it doesn't have to be like these big life-altering decisions, although a lot of times with 16-7 energy, it can bring in very pivotal moments in our life, in our life's direction, which again, we're at the helm of that. But it can be simple decisions, right? Very simple decisions. What do I want to wear today? That sounds trivial, but if it's, who knows, right? Like if the weather looks one way and you're concerned about it, you maybe want to layer up, right? So you have options. My point is, we all have to find a way to continue to make decisions that feel best for us in the moment, and to trust ourselves and to recognize we always have the power to pivot. We always have the power to change direction. It's kind of like, if you've been doing something, or if you make a decision and it goes south really, really quickly, you can either be like, I'm not going to admit that was not the best decision, and I'm going to continue down this path no matter what. Well, then you're just going to continue to have the same experience and probably will be quite uncomfortable. Or you can recognize, okay, that wasn't the best decision. What are my options now? What direction do I want to move into? You know what I mean? Like, we always have options. We always have a decision to make. So we just have to be very confident in that and trust ourselves. And that's where we're going to get that evolution. That's where we're going to get that progression from. So beautiful energy for that, for sure. This week could also bring in some lessons about trusting others, right? Especially with new connections. If you're someone who has been burnt a lot in the past, when you meet someone new, you could kind of instantaneously, or kind of even not without thinking about it, automatically project those insecurities and fears onto the other person sort of expecting them to break your trust or do something that hurts you, etc., and you're not meeting that person where they're at. The 16-7 gives us an opportunity to meet people where they're at and let them show us who they are, and not automatically project onto them our fears or our insecurities or, again, like our past traumas. And learn to trust people, even if we've been burned in the past, which can be really difficult to do, right? There's this level of vulnerability with the 16-7 or the 7 that kind of pushes you to continue to get back up, brush yourself off, and open yourself up again. And you might get burnt, you might not. So there's a lot of opportunities for immense growth during a 16-7 cycle. And it's a week long. So, there's significant opportunities for that this week. The other one is trusting the universe, right? Or God, or whatever you subscribe to. Trusting that if something is removed from your life, no matter how challenging it may be, it's serving some kind of purpose. It's for your highest good in some way. Whether you can't see it or whether you don't understand, it's trusting that there is a natural process with life, right? In the universe. Everything is transient. And so people would often say, well, what about a death? That's not serving a higher purpose. But actually it is, right? We fool ourselves in thinking that death isn't a natural part of life. We fear it. But it's coming for everyone. It is a natural progression. It is a natural part of the cycle of life that we are a part of. So when death happens in our lives, as challenging as it is, it's an opportunity for us to face those deeper fears and also to move through grief. Grief can be one of our greatest teachers in this lifetime. Truly. It can be so humbling and also teach us how strong we truly are. It can teach us so much. So there's so many sort of opportunities for growth and expansion and evolution through experiences like that. And I'm not saying that's going to happen to everyone out there, right? But, it's a natural part of life. And so in a 16-7 cycle especially, it can come up as part of one of those experiences to move through. But it could also be a metaphorical death, right? Something falling away, something being removed, the job being removed, the relationship being removed, something being removed, and you don't feel ready for it to be removed yet. And that's that 16-7 energy showing you it was time, and it's time to move forward now in a different direction, in a more aligned direction. The 16-7 is always about evolution and growth. It's about continuing to level up and continuing to move forward and again, expand. And to tap into our own spiritual strengths. Again, trusting the universe or God, again, whatever you subscribe to. Knowing that everything in life serves a purpose. Whether we can understand it, whether we see it, or whether we just want to ignore it, it's always serving a purpose. And the 16-7 helps us to understand that. But it's very physical, so we have to move through it. And usually in life, that's how we have to do things, right? We have to move through the experience to gain a better understanding of the experience. We can have empathy, that sort of thing, for other people's experiences, but until it truly affects us in some way, we're never going to have that full understanding of what that experience truly means. So the 16-7 cycle can be a great opportunity to to get schooled, right? Through our soul. Our soul sort of schooling us in some area of life that we need that schooling or we need that education. So great time to kind of break free from erroneous ideas, habits that need to be altered, addictions, something that is kind of holding you back in some way. You could see a strong emphasis on that this week, helping you again to not only break free from that, but to go deeper, to gain a deeper understanding of why it's not serving you or why engaging in that way isn't serving you. And what's the better way? What's the better option? So yeah, big energy this week. I would say, again, take your time. Do your due diligence, especially with contracts. If there's some kind of contract you need to sign at this time, take your time. Have someone else look it over, like a professional, just to make sure that your best interest is being taken into consideration. If you're getting married, if you're adopting, if you're buying or selling a house, if you're getting a new job, any kind of contracts. Not saying, again, be overly skeptical or cynical. Just take your time. Just read through it. Read the fine print before you sign off on it. Yeah. This is a really powerful week that you can really learn a lot about not only yourself, but others, and also the direction you want to be moving in. And then you can start making decisions to help move you in that way. Because really, this is a partnership with life, right? But no matter what life throws at us, we always have options. And it's up to us to make the decision that will help to move us towards the option that we want, right? That best suits us. And we carry that burden to make those decisions. And if we don't like the decision that we made, guess what? We can make a different one. We can change direction. Doesn't mean that it's going to automatically be better, right? There might be some cleanup. There might be some, amends to make. Might need to be some healing that takes place. But we always have options. We always have that power. And so often we want to give that away. And the 16-7 helps to remind us of that power. So really beautiful week. Just keep coming back to you. Keep coming back to your intuition, to your North Star. Because that is the one thing, especially when it comes to making decisions, that will never lead you astray. And I know it sounds woo, but it is so true. Like if I think back to the times where I've made a decision and I listened to the external noise where I was easily influenced, there was always some kind of level of regret there. When I follow my intuition, coupled with the information I'm receiving, right? It's always spot on. It might be uncomfortable, or it might not turn out exactly as my ego and my mind want it to turn out, but it always feels energetically aligned in one way or another. So when you can come back to your own North Star, follow that guidance, you'll be so much more aligned and happy with the direction your life is moving. And that's what the 16-7 helps us to remember. So I hope it's a great week, everyone. Take care. Bye for now.